Hello and welcome dear friends in new lecture of our course Health and Safety Management System. Still with chapter 4, Health and Safety Management Element 3, Planning and Implementation. Last lecture we started the first two steps in the risk assessment process, and today we continue with the third step, which is evaluate the risk and the control measures. Actually, the aim of this step is to answer a simple question. Is the level of risk generated by the hazard acceptable, or does it need to be reduced? The question may be simple, but the answer can at times be complex. Remember that risk is the combination of the likelihood that a hazard will cause a harm and the expected severity of the injury. And risk can be described using three words: high, medium, and low. But the problem with these words is that they mean different things to different people, and so they are not used consistently. An alternative approach that is commonly adopted is to break risk down into its two components and define each separately using the calculation formula, multiplying likelihood by the severity. And by simply assigning a score to each word, it's possible to calculate a risk rating for a particular hazard and assign our risk assessment matrix. Look at this example for the risk assessment matrix. As you see, likelihood is presented on the x-axis, while severity is presented on the y-axis. And this graphic demonstrates how risk levels can be categorized using numbers and color coding. For green, identifying low risk, and for red identifies high risk, while yellow and orange identify medium risk. So let's see an example to understand more. Here we have a worker is working at height using a ladder. So let's see how the risk can locate at low stage or medium stage or the high risk stage according to different conditions. And according to this condition, we can give the likelihood score a number out of 5. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Also the severity, we can give it a score 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So let's see the first condition. Suppose the worker is using a suitable ladder with a good mechanical conditions. This ladder is clean and dry, and the ladder is erected stable, and this worker is trained on his job. This worker is subjected to a falling hazard. This condition is an ideal condition, so the score of the likelihood will be 1. According to this falling hazard, the severity can be broken bones or bruises or even death. So we will give it a constant score in all conditions, which is 4 out of 5. Now to calculate the risk, we should use the calculation formula. So we can multiply the likelihood by the severity. In this condition, the likelihood equals 1, while the severity equals 4, and the result is 4. See? The risk here is in the green zone, which represents the low risk. Going to the second condition. Suppose the worker is using a suitable ladder with a good mechanical conditions, but this ladder is not clean and not dry, and the ladder is erected stable, but the worker is not trained on his job. Then, the score for the likelihood in this condition is 2, while we agreed that the score of the severity remains 4. In this case, the risk is in the yellow zone, which represents the medium risk. Third condition, that the worker is not using a suitable ladder with a bad mechanical condition, and this ladder is not clean and not dry, and ladder is not erected stable, and this worker is not trained on the job. Then the score for the likelihood in this case, we can give it 5, while severity score still 4. Then the result is the risk is in the red zone, which represents the high risk. The conclusion from our example is that control on a specific risk is the factor which results in the location of the risk, and ignoring controls by the time can raise the risk to the upper stage from the low to the medium to the high, and also get to know that zero risk or none. I wish you got it clear. Here's the end of our lecture. Thanks for watching and see you in next lecture.